Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I wanted to talk to you about reactions and baiting from the narcissist. So let's jump in. So this is going to be a little bit of understanding how a narcissist will bait you in the very beginning. It could be a love partner situation, but it may, a baiting into you becoming a new potential love partner situation. Or it could be a coworker, it could be a friend, it could be, or somebody around the way, and spotting whether they're a narcissist or not. Or maybe if you have a tough time and you feel like you're a magnet to narcissists, okay? So maybe it could be, and sometimes it's the way that you've been groomed when you were a child as a black sheep to supply for the caregiver narcissist hierarchy in the family, or whoever it was that maybe raised you, a caregiver or somebody around you that groomed you for these kinds of things, or else you wouldn't have this stuff coming at you. Well, one thing's for sure, you don't want to give anybody too much information. If somebody isn't vulnerable with you, or you don't know them enough, then you definitely don't want to be vulnerable with them, because the vulnerabilities that they may be showing to you may be completely a lie and a sham. Because we know when the narcissist came in and in the love bomb phase, whatever vulnerability they did show you was just pieces of other people, or they were lying by omission what really was going on in the whole scenario, the situation, and the plot. They will sometimes be working on forms of triangulating, so they will bait you into some sort of triangulation sometimes. And so you got to be aware of how triangulation works. Sometimes it would be that they'll tell you all that they did for this individual, and then you may want to be heavy into wanting to give advice. And your best bet is to, unless you really vetted a person, you know them very well, then you don't want to be an individual that wants to give advice out. Because chances are, if it's like a triangulation situation, they may try to triangulate you with another coworker or something. So they'll tell you maybe some scenario, a situation where they felt like they were in the right, and you may back them up, or you may give them advice on how they should have treated the situation. Next thing you know, you're in the middle of it and they've backed away, and you're in some situation with maybe another coworker or some other individual. So I always think, outside of the people that you know and that you have vetted as being good people, you don't want to be willing to give too much advice or too much information, nor any vulnerability, any extra information that's not necessary. Individuals come at you asking your advice or trying to bait you into helping them decipher maybe who is right in a situation. You could just tell them you don't know, you weren't there, and you're sure that, you know, they'll be able to figure it out, or something along the lines that's going to be taking you off the hook and not really being offensive, but not also being too concerned with what's really going on in their situations. If it's a narcissist and you're not sure, if you don't give them any energy, just always think about gray rock situation, because the gray rock situation will kind of ward off a lot of narcissistic people that may be trying to bait you into anything, because they play off your emotions, and you know that. And whenever you give too much vulnerabilities, you're giving too much information, and you're helping them to understand more about you when you know nothing about the other individual, because they're a stranger. So it gives them more grounds for ways to antagonize you or to push your buttons or something if they can find out more about you and they want to exploit you. For instance, when they come into you in the love bomb phase and they're doing all that data mining, it's to exploit you. The empathy check on a trauma bond is to exploit you later, and to test you and to find out your empathy level. Then also in the trauma bond, after, you know, they devalue you, and they get you into this hot and cold and everything, they start to find out the length of how much pain and how much turmoil and trauma and abuse you can take, the length of time it would take before you'll pop off, and the depth of the amount of trauma and abuse that you can take. So these are things that they learn about you in the trauma bond. When you start to feel things pertaining to somebody getting you to second guess yourself, then you got to question, because the slogan is, or the statement or the scenario always goes, that when you start second guessing yourself, then you're probably in the presence of a narcissist. In the love bomb phase or in the trauma bond phase, they get you in the first cycle. These are, always look at those tactics, because they use every tactic on you in that trauma bond. They come in and they love bomb you, right? That's flattery. So take the love bombing out, and just now, if it's just a coworker or somebody that you don't know and they're trying to get in with you, just know in most cases a narcissist is going to start out by flattering you, because flattery is a love bomb in a situation with a non-love partner, right? And it works. Flattery works. If somebody comes in, they tell you, oh, you're great and you look good and you're an awesome individual. Well, what the narcissist does is they come in to raise you up, but only to destroy you and take you down to the Death Valley, and put you in a sunken place. So they do this because it also gives them control over your emotions. When they had the ability to raise your emotional level up to the highest heights and then drop them to the lowest levels, then it kind of gets you to some degree dependent on them if you don't watch yourself. Then, like I said, the second guessing is where you're walking on eggshells. The narcissist is very self-righteous, critical. They're judgmental. Of course, they could do no wrong, and you're the one that's screwing up somehow. And they're critical, very critical of that. It's something you want to be aware of, because they're snakes. And this is how snakes get in. And when they get in and they grip your emotional field and they get you to believe in them, they start putting a lot of rules on your life, or they get you almost to, because a lot of times they have no power to do anything. They have no power to start any kind of friendship relationship. It's up to you. You have to consent to it. They usually sniff you out and stalk and find you. You don't find them. You may think you found them, but if you think back thoroughly, you're going to find once they met you or spotted you or heard about you, they started to be a lot more in your orbit somehow, just somehow, some way, just out of convenience. At least maybe that's what you thought. They're highly prideful, and you'll see that in the way that they talk, and it'll be subtle a lot of times, and the way that they move and the way that they walk, it's going to be grandiose or prideful, and as if that there's nothing wrong with them. A lot of times the narcissist is always going to look like the do-gooder, and of course they always play the victim. So look out for victimhood mentality. They may be acting quite sulky a lot of times, and that's how victimhood mentality looks when it first comes in, before they try to stomp on you later. But if they can data mine you and find out a lot about you, then they'll make you feel comfortable feeling like you're friends with them, or you can confide in them, or they can confide in you. So that's the idea. And a lot of times they'll start maybe by confiding into you with situations they're going through and how would you deal with it, or what's right. And your best thing to do is just say, no, I don't know, but I know you have a good head on your shoulders and I think you'll figure it out. Those are things that will squash whatever they're baiting you with, because it kind of ends it. And it doesn't give them any more energy. It cuts off the fuel lines. Being an empath, typically growing up in these situations, when you get out in the world, you don't want to offend people, upset people, and ruffle any parts of their life. For instance, if you had to meet somebody somewhere for lunch and you had an extended situation, ways that narcissists will see that you are this person that's been groomed and somebody that they can use is when there's situations that occur and you would call them if you have to reschedule, or if you have to have them meet you somewhere else, and you start saying, well, is that okay if you meet me somewhere else? I really need to meet you, or can we reschedule? I'm so sorry. I would really like to see you, but can we do it some other day? Or somebody somewhere, you got to change a meeting, or you got to change a time, or things have changed, and you might come at them and just say it how it is, y'all. And when you act like that, you're showing that you're unsure of yourself, or you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. It just is what it is. So you just tell them, look, I want to meet you for dinner, or we're going to have this dinner meeting, but we're going to have to meet at this place because we can't meet at that place. If you can do that, that would be great, because it would save me some time. You got to look at things and take things from what it is and feel confident about it. Not live in this kind of mentality to where you're always feeling like you can't hurt somebody's feelings, or you can't make them have to make a change so the whole situation can still work the way it's supposed to in cohesiveness. We're in a world where a lot of things happen. Sometimes you have to spend more time at work than you normally would. But when you start coming at somebody with all the apologies, because you got to reschedule or something, it shows an individual, especially somebody who's exploitative, that you can be used. If you're doing that and you're so sensitive about these situations, then you're going to be also sensitive in other ways that they can exploit you. You're going to give in and you're going to give your power up. There's certain things that you want to learn where you shouldn't feel like shame, or you shouldn't feel you're messing up somebody's day. Hey, if you have to reschedule, you have to reschedule. It's an objective situation. We have a decision to make. I'm running late. If you meet me at this restaurant versus that restaurant, then we can still do it. If you can't, then we'll have to reschedule for another day. It is what it is. And some of you have narcissistic exes that you have children with, and you have to make these decisions. Don't ask for permission. A lot of times you just have to call and just tell them what's going to be best. You need to just meet me here because things have changed today. If I can't drive them, I have somebody else dropping the kids off to meet you. Everything's going to be the same. It's just not going to be me today. It's going to be somebody else. And you don't have to give a bunch of excuses or back down and all of that. A lot of times when you talk to a narcissist or a sociopath, psychopath, all of these, if you speak to a narcissist in a way and you say their name, if you talk to them more with a parental voice, a lot of times they will listen, more cohesive to doing what you ask than if you use a voice of less authority and more compassion. A lot of times the narcissists, after breakup, they try a lot of crazy stuff. They still will play tactics on you to try to play into whatever your vulnerabilities are, or to try to make it seem as if their life is going great and everything is awesome. When you decide there's no fruit in it, even if it looks good, there's nothing in it for you, and you know that, and you know also everything that they get into is going to be temporary. Everything with them is temporary. So cut out the facade, don't believe the hype. Just move on with your life. And if you're trying to get off the energy of the narcissist and you're having a hard time with that rumination, then if you can get involved in something that will take you away from narcissism, something that you can dive into, to switch your energy up is a huge lifesaver. Do things maybe you've never done before, to try out new energies of new types of hobbies, because maybe there's something out there maybe you've never tried that you might fall in love with. Maybe you might like to drive golf balls and learn more about understanding the life of golf, playing and the strategies of golf. You may get into a car club or painting, anything that's going to help you, maybe reading books or hiking. And then you may meet good people that like to hike as well. And this could be your new lifelong passion that you never knew anything about. And it can also be getting you fit and healthy at the same time. So this is where you got to switch up your energy, and sometimes you may not feel like this is going to be fun. Trying new things, maybe one new thing a week, something that you can dive into. I've been into conspiracy facts that have occurred in the world that we live in. So for me, I've jumped into things like that are just amazing things I could invest time into, and that would get me to switch my energy real quick, because I like hobbies like that. Going to the gym and eating healthy, getting your rest. Just get to a point to where if you can go all no contact, just block them and be done with it. Focus on changing your mind. Your focus can be on becoming the best you that you've ever been. But chances are most of you are at least 30 or older. So we have a short time here. And when you go through these situations of hardship, a lot of times it gets you to think about, wow, well, the narcissist already told me that it'd be nothing, right? And so far, maybe you've listened to them, and maybe that's what you become, exactly what they told you, because you listened to them. But, you can put faith and hope and take everything from the inside. Be sure of yourself. And when you fumble, then you continue to be sure of yourself. You just adjust whatever fumbled in you, that whatever that mistake was that made you fumble. When somebody on the football field that's a high-end an NFL player drops the ball, you don't think they get up and they continue to feel unsure of themselves and they quit playing the game forever. They got to come back next week. Whatever they did to fumble the ball this week, we don't want to make that same mistake next week, so we're going to perfect it. Okay, we might go home and we might change the gloves we wore. We might change the shoes we had on. We might learn to catch it better, to catch it differently. Turn your head faster when you're running. Angle yourself to the left or to the right a little more, because that's what works. To catch it with both hands instead of trying to catch it with one hand. So just like that, in life, you have to continue to be confident in yourself, because a lot of times these narcissistic families in this childhood, they would try to make you inferior. But you were the strongest one in the family. Somebody that's got to be beat down day after day after day from childbirth, both on a spiritual, psychological, and a physical realm. Trust me, y'all, you were not the weakest of the bunch. But only when you believe you are who you were meant to be will you be able to pursue that. And it's not a dream, it's a reality. And the reality is that you're the one that holds all the goods, probably in your whole generational family. And that's why the enemy came to put you out. So stand up, be confident. Don't ask so many questions and second guess yourself, whether at work, at school, on a test, on an exam, or in the presence of others. Tell them the best knowledge you know. And if you fumble the ball, you pick it up and you figure out where you made a mistake, and you adjust it. You maintain and you make yourself sharpen your sword. And you be around people that will help you to sharpen that sword. And as they help you sharpen yours, you're going to help them sharpen theirs. Now, those are the ones you confide in. Those are the ones that are on your team. Those are the ones that are in your bunch and in your group. They care about you. So those are the ones that you want to invest in. Those are the ones that you want to build a good support system around. And when somebody, an evildoer, comes to try to isolate you, you'll have these support people that'll always be there. And you will be not able to be isolated. And you will always have somebody to confide in, and them to tell you, you ain't acting right, you need to get away from this person. This person's drawing you down, and this person's doing this and that to you. See, when you have evildoers and people like that in your life, you don't know who to believe. But when you cut all the evildoers out, you can clearly see the truth tellers. And those are the ones you want to surround yourself around. And that's why you don't want to spend a time fooling around with people. A lot of times you have these flings. Oh, I'm just seeing this person right now because I have nothing better to do. No, if they're toxic, you don't need to be around them at all, because they train you up. Everybody in this world that you're close to is going to train you up either to be better or worse. So if you can give me a like, subscription, and thumbs up. Love you all till next time. Peace, we out.